Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary and welcome to 2026. Today we're going to talk about my 26 reads I'm going to prioritize in 2026. I'm going to tell you this. I did this challenge in 2025 where I read 25 and 25 and I personally think it was a success. Now, did I get 100% of the books read? No. Ultimately, is that ever my goal? Not really, because I know myself. I know I'm not going to get all of them done, except this year. This year, I'm optimistic. I have broken this down into different categories. And of course, per my usual chaotic self, somewhere along the line, I lose the plot. But we're going to start off with motorcycle romances because I have found Tatiana Timmons and I have been loving being with the Zoo Boys. And so I figured, let me just continue on this train and read some more motorcycle romances. So I have two that I'm prioritizing this year. First being Queenie and the Krakens by Alara Agnes Serres. Now this is an Latinx author, which I am proud to be reading because I wanted to read more Latin romances in 2025. Did not do that. Making up for it this year. Now, this combines two of my favorite things, monster romances and now motorcycle romances, and it is poly. So I'm definitely glad to have this one on my shelf and prioritize it. The other MC romance that I'm going to read is probably one of the most hyped on BookTube, and I'm like, okay, well, let me be the judge. You know, I wind up buying this entire series. Never had read from the author, just off the strength of the BookTube girlies. But I want to be the judge. I want to say, yeah, y'all lying, it's all cap, or y'all have been onto something and now I'm hip. So I will be reading Lessons in Corruptions by Gianna Darling. This one is a teacher-student romance where I also have another teacher-student romance that I will be reading. So I may have to do a little video featuring those two because they are both by popular BookTube authors. But again, I want to be the judge. So this is the other MC romance that I will be reading in 2026. Another thing about me is I enjoy a good sports romance. So I have 3 sports romances that I will be prioritizing in 2026. The first one has been on my TBR. It's got to be since like 2023, maybe 2022. And so it's by time that I read this. And that is going to be It Started with a List by Tiana Mofford. This one is a nerdy girl who has been obsessed with her books. She realizes it's her senior year and now she has to check things off and she needs to get them done. And who better to do it with than the star baseball player, you know, one of your popular jocks who takes a liking to her. And this is a college romance. I'm very interested to read it. I haven't had anyone talk about this book in particular. Now, I've heard other things by this author, but this is one I'm like, okay, you've got it. Let's read it. Next, I want to read one of my super sought after books. I finally got my hands on a signed copy of Loving the Legend. This is by Kit Gray. This is a Black romance. Male basketball where you have the rookie and the vet and things get a little bit heated, but it also gets to be sweet. And I've heard nothing but great things about it. In addition to that, I have some beautiful character art and I'm like, oh yeah, it's time. I've been obsessed with Heated Rivalry, but I'm like, let's find a sports romance that's male, make it Black. And Kit supposedly delivers. So this is what I will be prioritizing. And last but not least in my sports romance, I needed something that was unhinged. I looked at this entire list and I was like, oh, I don't have anything that's bonkers. And I said, I need to give this author another shot because the one book that I read from them, I didn't really like one. And so I'm going to be reading Applying Pressure by Siobhan Latrice. This is a football romance. Also, I believe set in college where our main male character, the man is putting his foot down on all of the men that think they're finna step up to his woman. The girl he's been pining after has a long line of suitors and he is dropping bodies left and right. Unhinged to the max. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Let's see what this is about. So those are the 3 sports romances that I'm going to read in 2026. Now, one thing you all should know about me, I love starting a new series. I'm unhinged in the way that I will start a series and almost never finish them. So why not stay true to who I am? I've got 5 books here that are all starts of new series. New year, same me. I'm going to be picking up All the Smoke by T. Lynn. I read my first T. Lynn in 2025. Absolutely loved it. Came in, had no clue what the book was going to be about. And I think I was like, okay, let's do it again. Let's see if she could go back to back. Do I know what this is about? No. But I do believe that this is featuring a rapper, MMC. And rappers haven't been my thing. However, I think I'm going to give it a shot in 2026. So I'm going to be reading this one by T. Lynn. But I will also be reading Saving Sunflower by Ray Lease. This MMC is also a rapper. So it's giving similar vibes. You mean to tell me a tatted up man with, chains on his neck? Hey, I'm sold. This one is the start of the Sun series. Now, I've heard really great things about this series, and I am trusting this author because I read a book from them in 2025, which was a standalone that I loved. So I'm like, oh, let's go back to back. I think this one is going to be a hit. So I will be reading Saving Sunflower. And then, because I know I wanted to read Natasha Bishop, I have more of her backlog in her catalog. And as we're waiting for the second to follow up from Only for the Week, we're waiting for the sequel to Only for the Week. But I said, let's go back. Let's go back and see what else she has in her catalog. And so I will be reading Where We Found Our Home. This is the Lost and Found series. I have the original covers. I think the new covers are okay, but I prefer people covers. So I'm so glad that I was able to collect them all. And this one is, I want to say, a firefighter romance. And your girl loves a firefighter. So I've heard really great things. These are also now on audio. So I'm like, yeah, now is the perfect time. Let's do this. Now, I love this author. This is probably one of my favorite authors. And I have not read her most popular book. Shameful, I know. But I'm going to be reading Big South. I will be reading Let Me Love You by Alexandria House. I have this entire series as well. And I am going to be doing a reading vlog for this. I think I'm going to just go ahead and binge all 5 books in the series, but I first got to start with Big South. I got to know why this is Alexandria House's favorite character, and it's undisputable. Like, the way that she mentions this man in damn near every book lets me know how much she loves this man, and I want to be on the team. I want to know and love Big South just like everybody else does. So I will be reading this. This is a special edition. This is the Bookworm limited edition. And I said, yeah, let me get it. The last and final series that I will be starting is going to be the Tethered series. This is by Shanora Williams. This is a romantasy. And the line that got me in here was, for two people who dislike each other, not mating should be a simple endeavor. Yeah, we see where you're doing here. I have the entire series on audio, and I have the digital format. This is the only physical copy I have. I think I got it as a gift. Now that we talked about series that I have started, I'm going to talk to you about the 4 books that I have to read book 2 in. Yes, I am going to try my best to continue on with series. So, I have 4 books that I need to read the second book in the series. Starting with Winter's Eve, Then, Now, and Always. This is by A.E. Valdez. It is high time that I read this. I have absolutely no excuse other than the fact that this one is a chunker. However, I have the audiobook, so excuses be damned. I'm going to be reading this because I am salivating over the tension in the second chance romance where Winter and Eve, like, they were married and the spark is still there. However, they're fighting it tooth and nail, but they have to be around each other. And I'm nosy. I want to know what happened. So I will be reading this, and I'm going to be continuing on because I only have 1 more left in that series. And for a person who enjoys A.E. Valdez, there's no excuse for that. I will also be reading Playing with Soul Ties. This is by A. Blossom. This is the last and final one, I want to say, in the Soul Ties series. This one, it has a surprise pregnancy. Well, Yeah, it has a surprise pregnancy in this one, and it is juicy because the woman doesn't actually know if this man is the father or somebody else she's been messing with. She ain't want to be tied down, and now she ain't got nothing but ties, and I can't wait. Speaking of, I need to read Soul Glitch. This is the second in the Soul series. I had to take a break from book 1, which was Soul Crush, because I was too enthralled. And yeah, that seems like an oxymoron. You love something and yet you need to take a break. I got too invested. Like, my emotions were high. I know that this one is supposed to make me cry, and I think I'm ready for it. This should have been also put with the sports romance, because I want to say our MMC is a boxer, if my memory serves me correct. I probably need to go back and read Soul Crush, but do I want to experience that again? Am I ready? Do I have the mental fortitude to do that? No. Will it happen? More than likely. But what also will be happening, I will be getting to Soul Glitch. Now, the last and final sequel in a series that I need to read. I need to read The Rebel King by Kennedy Ryan. I have absolutely no excuse for this, other than the fact that I was like, oh, this isn't really my favorite Kennedy Ryan, but that is meaning that, like, I need to give it a second chance, because I need to read this one so I can get to Queen Move, because I know that that one has Kennedy's favorite FMC. So, The Rebel King will be read so I can close out this duology and read the interconnected standalone Queen Move. That's my rationale for this. Alright, now let's move on to books that aren't romances that I need to read and prioritize. So I have a stack of 5 here. Interestingly enough, all of them but one are hardcover. So we're going to start with Amari and the Despicable Wonders. This is book 3 in the Amari series. I need to read this because book 4 is coming out next month. And I want to know what the kids are up to. I want to make sure that they are okay. I want to know what type of shenanigans they are getting into. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this particular book, and I want to know why. We were all loving it. We were all enjoying our time, and then it kind of fizzled out. Is it because too much time has gone by? Let's go ahead and have a resurgence for Amari. So I'm going to be reading this in preparation for book 4. I also need to read The Yellow Wife. Now, Sadiqa Johnson has a book that's coming out this year, which I have an arc for. And I'm like, how do I keep reading her books and not going back to her most popular work? This is the book that put her on my radar, and it's high time that I read this. I know that this one is going to be emotionally heavy and taxing for me, but what historical fiction do I typically read that is not really a toll on me? I need to read this one for sure. Another emotional read that I want to prioritize in 2026 is The Death of Yvette OG. This is by Akweke Emezi. I have this one on my 26 for 26 for a number of reasons. 1, I love a good emotional book. 2, I wanted a book that centers a trans character. I have not read a ton of books featuring or written by trans authors, and so this one has a trans character, and it is not set in the US. This is Eastern Nigerian, and this is all about a kid that I believe has either contemplated or has gone through and committed because their family did not accept them, they did not understand them, and now they're going back to see what's transpired in order to lose a child that they never really knew. And so I am interested in reading this. I won't say exciting because I know it's going to emotionally rip me in two, but I think this is important work and I want to be one to amplify this story. So I will be reading this one. Also, I hear one of the emotional, great pieces of literature that will soon become a modern day classic is The American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. This is an Oprah book club pick, so I know I'm going to enjoy it. Plus, everyone says really good things about this one, and I have to know what it's about. I believe it's about a couple who married young, and then something happened where the male character was imprisoned, and the female main character moved on with their life and found another love. And now the male main character is out of prison. And she's like, where do I stand with my husband? Or has too much time and we've grown apart. And this talks about how much the American justice system plays a factor in terms of ripping families apart. And it just really is a breakdown of what goes on within the Black community when our men are incarcerated. Can't wait to read this. Now, the last and final book in this non-romance collection is going to be Killers of a Certain Age. This is by Deanna Raybourn. I actually picked this up, I believe in 2022, the day that it came out. The author came into town and I met them, I had to sign them, and yet I have not read the book, which is very inexcusable. This one centers, I believe, characters that are in their 60s. They used to be women for hire, and now they are on the run. They are trying to figure out who is trying to take them out. They knew they had did some nefarious things, right? That was a part of their job, and now they have since retired, but someone is taking them out one by one, and now they're having to go together to say, okay, well, let's get back on the job and let's take them out before they take us out and live the rest of our lives. I actually think that there is a follow-up that came out to this, and I have not read it, and I want to see what this is about, because I have a feeling it's going to be hilarious. Anytime you get like the elders together and have them work and sleuth and go around, it's a funny good time. So I will be reading this one because it's time. Now, the last set of books are all books that I would say have popularity or hype around them. And so whether it be this particular book, the author, you name it, these are all kind of things that I've seen in the stratosphere of social media. So the first one I want to read is Whiskey and Sin by Emily Raff. Emily Raff has become extremely popular. I also love that she is using her platform for good. I want to read one of her books, but I did not choose her hockey romance, which is very, very popular. I am in the mood for an Omegaverse. I am in the mood for male romance. So Emily Raff, Whiskey and Sin will do. Now, because I have a feeling that I'm going to be doing a whiskey vlog, I also need to read A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. This one is having its second or third resurgence because it has now been traditionally picked up. It has a new audio book narrators. It's time to give this a go. I've had this on my shelves on my TBR for probably 3 or 4 years, and if I do not read it this year, it has to go. This is the original cover. This is just from the FMC's point of view. So I may need to go back and read the male POVs because there is a bind-up that goes with this. But I am going to be reading this. And I probably, like I said, will do a whiskey vlog. I also want to read King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I have loved Anna Huang's writing when it came to the Twisted series. And this male main character was in, I want to say, Twisted Lies. And so this one is an arranged marriage, and there's already tension, so I gotta read this. Speaking of tension, these next few books are high with attention. You have From the Embers by Ali Martinez. This one is a story where the two main individuals in this book were actually married to other people. Their significant others died in a fire, and now they have to rebuild from the ashes, and they tend to fall in love, and they have young kids that they're blending and having this family together. Want to read this. I will also be reading The Coldest Winter by Brittany Cherry. This is the other book that I mentioned that is a teacher-student romance, and I think it has an emotional aspect to it. Something that took place before their one-night stand turned into more. So I will be reading The Coldest Winter. I need to read Losing Control by Lady Nisha. This one has since been picked up as a traditional romance. I don't know what Losing Control is about, but I know I've heard great things, and I need to pick this up. And last, but certainly not least, I want to pick up 1201. This is by Bella J. This one is a ex-boyfriend's brother, enemies to lovers romance, where I hear it is top tier. The audiobook just came out, and I hear that is like supreme Emmanuel Ingram material. So I will be reading this. Do me a favor. Let me know What is a book that you plan on prioritizing in 2026? If you don't want to do that, leave me some sort of number emoji or leave me a clock. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.